are going to be watching creepiest content from the Japanese internet. So make sure you grab your favorite blankie, snuggle up to somebody in Twitch chat, give them a little, and let's get right into it. Was that creepy?
We've all seen weird stuff online, but that's just the English side. The
Dude, that is kind of crazy though, because I feel like I've seen so much unhinged stuff that things don't even make me scared anymore, or like make me freak out or make me feel weird.
Japanese internet has stories about curses, disappearances, and strange mysteries that were never solved. And most people outside Japan have never heard of them. Today, we're exploring the creepiest content from the Japanese internet. We'll start with the strange cases and save the worst for last.
Okay.
The new goal, guys, is 2.5 million subscribers by the end of 2026. It's a crazy goal, so it would mean the world if you subscribe, and I will do my very
subscribe. I'm gonna hit him with the Krispy Kreme glaze. I love your channel, and I think you are very good at presenting information, and I like how funny and nice you are. So, yep, subscribe.
very best to put out the best videos I possibly can for you. I'm Visual Venture, and you are awesome.
No, you.
The mystery of
He called you awesome.
the evaporated people.
What? Like, just straight up went to the ozone layer? Are they gonna become condensation?
Japanese social media, there's a hashtag that translates to husband missing. Under that hashtag, women post photos of husbands who left home and never returned.
What?
They just vanished into thin air. In Japan, there's a word for this. It's called johatsu.
Johatsu means evaporated people, and it is the term that Japanese use for when people disappear without a trace.
Dude, do you think that it might just be they feel so pressured by everything and like by society, and they hate their home life, and maybe they just like go to the countryside and don't participate in society anymore?
It's estimated that 100,000 Japanese people disappear each year.
Jeez.
That number alone is unsettling. We'll make
274 people a day is wild. Just straight up off the face of the earth.
it even more disturbing is that this has been happening for over 50 years.
Wow.
The term johatsu started being used in the 1960s. Back then, some people in Japan wanted to escape unhappy marriages, but divorce was a long and difficult process. So instead of going through the courts, they chose to run away. Soon, others followed for different reasons.
Dude, a lot of the systems in Japan, when I was there, are very weird. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I always had to bring my passport with me when I was riding a bike, because they would, like, the police would stop people who were riding their bikes, and if you looked foreign, they'd be like, hey, show me that that's yours, or we're gonna think you stole it, and we're gonna take you into jail. And then to get out of jail is actually really, really difficult if you're a foreigner.
Japan's work culture was intense. Employees had to work long hours and remain loyal to one company.
Yes, and then you have to work really late. And there's also a culture where if you have a job and you go to work, you're supposed to not take any days off, because if you take days off, then that means that you gave everybody else at the company more work to do because you're not there. It's very sad.
In many companies, your salary isn't really based on how good you are at your job, but how long you've been sitting in that company.
Some couldn't handle the pressure. They left home one morning and never returned. Others vanished out of shame. One engineer lost his job but felt too embarrassed to tell his family, so he disappeared. Another case involved a family that owned a restaurant. They took out a loan they couldn't repay. When the debt became too much, the entire family disappeared. There were many more reasons. Even failing an exam can motivate people to disappear.
That is actually... It's also just like pressure from your parents too, right? Because they have like entrance exams to go to college. And then if you don't pass your entrance exam, maybe you're too scared to disappoint your parents, so you just leave.
The case for many of your Hatsus. They chose to vanish because of depression, disappointment, rejection, and lack of support.
It felt as if people were dissolving into thin air. That's why the Japanese called it johatsu, which means evaporation. The name came from the idea of water disappearing into the air. Now we get to the strangest part of this case. Most people didn't have the skills to disappear and build a new life, so an entire industry was formed to help them do it.
What?
Japan is the only country I know that has an entire underground industry dedicated to helping people disappear.
Dude, and isn't there also that other, I guess, like underground industry where you can have somebody go and quit a job for you because you don't want to, so they show up and they're like, hey, by the way, like, blah, 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 he just quit. Sorry. And the system of disappointing people is totally, like, societally based, and, like, you don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings. Like, even on the train, like, it's like Meiwaku culture. Like, you don't want to be annoying, so you're not supposed to talk on your phone. You're not really supposed to do anything. So I I would just sit there and I would play Uma Musume.
In Japan, there are companies known as yonigeya. In English, that means midnight escape agents.
These agents offer services such as secret relocations, where a person can be transported to a new location overnight without anyone knowing.
Midnight escape
Wow.
agents operate openly. They have websites, logos, and office staff.
Holy
They charge
crap!
anywhere from $450 to $2,600.
Damn! Back in my day, we just called up and asked for a vacuum cleaner.
When someone hires them, planning begins immediately. Days before the move, they help clients sneak out small items and store them elsewhere. If the client is alone, the move usually happens in the middle of the night. If an
Wow.
entire family wants to disappear, each
Dude, I'm crazy. There's no way you can disappear from my house because I actually don't sleep that well at night and I can hear everything. And the minute I would hear you get up and go out the door, I would get my giant Texas lasso you up, bring you back inside and say, "You're not getting out of this one. Sorry."
member is sent on a fake errand that morning. By the time anyone notices, the home is empty. If the client has debt and is being watched by debt collectors, the movers find ways to avoid detection. Every detail is calculated. Then they transport the client to secret towns.
There are neighborhoods that have become hotbeds for Johatsu, and much like the people who call them home, they no longer officially exist.
Some of these secret towns don't appear on Japan's official maps. In these places, people can rent rooms and work cash-only jobs without showing ID. For someone
Dude, it's actually kind of easy to disappear then. Like, they even have, like, what is it called? Like, Akia? They're like the houses where they're abandoned, and you can buy them for super cheap, and you can live in the countryside. The only thing is that you have to live in the countryside, so you gotta be cool with, like, maybe bad internet, hanging out at home all day. Honestly, if it had good internet, I would do that.
who wants to disappear, it offers a clean break. Imagine an entire town filled with people who were reported missing. Sounds pretty creepy to me. So if you ever scroll through Japanese social media, don't be surprised by all the missing person posts. It may
Wow.
seem scary to us, but over there, disappearing is actually a business. This next case is about a guy who took his obsession with a girl too far.
Uh-oh.
The creepiest love story.
Ew!
In 2011, a man went on an online Japanese chat room asking for advice. His post was titled, "Help. The girl I like won't respond to my emails." At first, people thought it was a simple dating question, but the more
I'm sorry. It's just immediately, anytime I hear stuff like this, my brain goes to the Discord call. If you know, you know, with the dude screaming.
he explained, the creepier he seemed. The real problem was how obsessed he sounded. He was willing to do anything to win her over. Users soon realized they were watching a stalker situation unfold live. The man never shared his real name. For his story, we'll call him Kai. Kai said he liked a girl named Denko. They went to the same college, but he was too shy to confess his feelings. One day during their second year, they hung out in a group. He got her contact details. After that, they began texting. Then Denko suddenly stopped replying. 3 days passed with no response.
Uh-oh. Not the ghost treatment. This is not gonna be good. No.
Kai was worried. He thought maybe she was hurt, so he asked the chat room what to do. Before giving advice, users asked one question. How many times did you message her? Kai's answer shocked everyone. He sent 600 emails in 3 days.
What? Oh, hell no!
Sure. Kai's answer
Not the 600 emails with the kitty cat face! Ew!
shocked everyone. He sent 600 emails in 3 days. That's like one message every 7 minutes. And he didn't see anything wrong with it.
The sheer number is alarming enough, but the way he just casually drops that in like it's a totally normal thing to do is wild.
Yeah!
Some in the chat room called it stalker level creepy. They
Dude, I'm surprised they confronted him and said, bro, like, chill out!
told him to stop contacting her immediately, but Kai refused. He insisted he was in love. The chat room then
See, this is when it's super scary. Like, nobody can tell him to think otherwise. And mentally, he is always going to be in this loop of thinking, oh, well, maybe she didn't see email 587. Let me send another one. That's why a lot of the time when you see people who stream or like they're VTubers, this is a super crazy and scary situation to be in, because no matter how many times you tell this guy to his face, like, please stop, he's just gonna keep doing it. So like, if you avoid it, he's gonna do it. If you tell him to stop, he's gonna keep doing it. There's literally nothing you can do.
And asked what their conversation looked like before Denko stopped replying. Kai told them.
Obi gave a couple of examples of how their conversations went when Denko was still replying, which are honestly just ridiculous.
The messages were repetitive and boring. What do you do for fun? What do you listen to? At that point, some users began
20
trolling
questions?
him. They told him to send more emails.
Email harder! Dude, this is how it feels when I watch a video and one person in chat always gonna be like, react harder! Streamer, pay attention! Go back! Wasn't that funny? What the fuck?
Emails and call her nonstop. They were
But you
being
see, that was ironic. Sometimes you guys are not ironic.
sarcastic, but Kai took them seriously. He bombarded Denko with more messages. Denko finally replied. She wrote, "Don't email me anymore." Most people would understand that clearly, but Kai didn't.
See, that's what I tried to tell you. Now he's gonna be like, oh, I got an email back. This was so awesome. Like, she actually replied. I knew she was reading them. It's very weird.
He returned to the chat room and posted her message. He asked what he should do next. When users told him to leave her alone, he refused. Instead, he took things to the next level. He went to Denko's house unannounced.
What?
What's disturbing about that is that he had her address.
Dude. Oh, no. I don't even know what to do. Well, I know what to do if you're in Florida. Especially if it's late at night and I see you right in my lawn. You better leave.
He knew exactly where she lived. And as we'll see in a second, that alone was enough to make her fear for her life. Most people don't realize how easy it actually is for someone to find that information about someone else. Your home address, your phone number, it's most likely public online right now and anyone can see it. A few years ago, someone found my own personal details and used it.
Dude, this is actually crazy to think about. There is a lot of people who don't have like online security. I had somebody the other day ask me if I had an LLC and I said, yes, I do have an LLC. And then they were like, oh, do you have any advice for making an LLC? And I said, don't name your LLC after you. And then they said, I was gonna do that.
To threaten me and my family. That was the moment I realized how exposed our data really is. You see, data broker websites make money by selling your information to anyone who pays. And what's crazy is that this is completely legal, but they're also legally required to remove your information if you ask them to. I tried to remove my data online by myself, but there were hundreds of these sites with my information. There was just no way I could do it all. That's how today's sponsor Aura can help. Aura finds which websites have your data, then they handle the removal requests for you. Within a few weeks, you'll notice less spam calls, less junk mail, and your information becomes much harder to find online. But Aura goes beyond data removal. It monitors the dark web, so if your data shows up there, they'll notify you right away. Aura
Dark web. I've never been to the dark web. Should we go for a stream? I'm just kidding.
will also tell you if someone tries to take out credit or open a bank account in your name. And in the worst case scenario, you're backed by up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. And because Aura protects you from every angle, they give you a VPN, antivirus software, and a password manager, which all help you stay safe online. If you guys
I had to use a VPN the other day because what happened was if you live in the eastern United States and there's a problem with Discord, it could have been because there was a Cloudflare error, which means that you couldn't actually get on Discord and it was endlessly loading, so you had to download a VPN and say that you were in Texas.
want to try Aura, click the link in the description or head to aura.com/VV for a 14-day free trial. That gives Aura enough time to find out if your personal data is already being sold online. Kai arrived at Denko's house and rang the doorbell. Denko's mother answered. She appeared to know who he was because she stepped outside and told him, "If you come by again, I'll call the police."
Dude, that's actually huge because like a lot of the time I feel like nobody tells you the way that they actually feel in Japan. You kind of have to guess or like read like nuanced situations and understand like what they're trying to tell you without actually saying it. But she said straight to his face, "Get out of here!" Surely he'll take that well and actually leave. No.
I went back to the chat room and asked why Denko's mom was mad at him. Users were blunt. They said Denko obviously told her mom that he was harassing her, but Kai rejected that explanation. Instead, he blamed Denko's mother for interfering. He wrote, "I need a way to meet Denko without involving her mom." A few days later, he returned to her house. This time, he didn't knock. He snuck around the property and peeked into Denko's room. Their eyes met. Denko screamed. Kai ran away. Hours later, Denko sent Kai a message. "Don't call me or email me anymore, please. I'm sorry, but I'm really scared. If there's been a misunderstanding, then I apologize. But this is my last email. Please don't contact me again. I'm begging you." Denko feared for her life. After that, Denko changed her phone number and email address. Kai could no longer reach her. Again, that should have been the end. But Kai did not give up. Kai contacted Denko's best friend. He offered to pay for updates about Denko. The best friend agreed.
Pay for updates and then she agreed? Nah. If somebody came up to you in chat and they said, "Hey, if you tell me everything you know about BerryCrepe for $5,000, you would say no, right?
He first paid 3,000 yen, which is about $20.
$20?
Over the next few weeks,
$20? That's a little low.
he kept paying for information. One day, the friend told him Denko would be at a certain park. Kai went there.
like
He
Ely
found
Park.
Denko. When Denko saw him, she snapped. She punched him and screamed at him to leave. He left to avoid causing a scene. Later, he returned to the chat room and explained what happened. He still believed it was just a misunderstanding.
Huh? You got punched in the face? You're gonna say maybe it was a misinput? What the hell? Thank you for the 100 bits. Is it the $5,000 taxed? Yes, you do have to pay the IRS.
This time, the chat room turned on him. They told Kai he was the problem.
Yes!
Some even praised Denko for defending herself. After that, Kai claimed he stopped contacting her, but he kept posting in the chat room. He later revealed that he met another girl whom he paid in exchange for a relationship.
No. What was the name of that old website where you would play games with girls? Was it like eGirl? It was like, what was it called? You would like pay somebody and they would play Overwatch with you. What was the name of that? No, not Rent a Girlfriend. It was called, it was like eGirl GG. Yes, eGirl GG.
That relationship also failed. On May 2nd, 2011, Kai made his final post. He wrote that he didn't understand how girls think at all.
Me neither, but I'm not stalking them.
After that, he disappeared from the forum. Kai never revealed his true identity, so no one could track him down. That also meant that no one could verify his story. In 2012, someone translated Kai's thread from Japanese to English and posted it on Tumblr. And that's how we know about this.
Oh, no. I used to go on Tumblr a long time ago. That's where I would write my fan fiction. This is also when I was really into Homestuck, and I used to post Homestuck art on there all the time.
Today, many readers treated it like a joke, but it was most likely the real-time online diary of a creepy stalker. The monster with 21 faces.
The monster with 21 faces. That would be kind of creepy, actually. That's like the Game of Thrones thing with all the wall.
In online Japanese chat rooms, there's one case people still discuss. It was a crime spree that happened in the 1980s. The group behind the crimes had a name straight out of a horror novel, The Monster with 21 Faces. For over a year, they kept Japan on edge. They didn't just commit crimes, they turned it into a sick game. The public first heard about The Monster with 21 Faces in 1984. That March, two masked men kidnapped Katsuhisa Ezaki. He was the president of Ezaki Glico, one of Japan's largest candy companies.
Wait, that's like the snacks and stuff you see in the kombini? He worked there? What?
The kidnappers broke into his home and took
Dude, he was the CEO. Holy crap.
him while his wife watched largest
Let me go
candy
back.
companies, Ezaki. He was the president of Ezaki Glico, one of Japan's
There we go.
largest candy companies. The kidnappers broke into his home and took him while his wife watched helplessly. They left behind a ransom note.
A ransom note demanded Ezaki's company Glico turn over 1 billion yen and 100 kilograms of gold in a...
Okay, not to be distracting, but that's the guy who used to make the videos with the ghosts. That's the ghost guy. That's the BuzzFeed guy. Dude, that was like my favoriteest BuzzFeed series when they did the ghost hunting stuff. Then BuzzFeed exploded.
specified phone booth.
It was the largest ransom demand in Japanese history. Izaki's family contacted the police. Search teams spread out across the area. Meanwhile, the family gathered the ransom money, but the police wanted to catch the kidnappers, so they waited at the drop location ready to arrest anyone who came for the cash. The family placed the bag at the location and left. Officers waited and watched, but no
What would happen if I just stumbled across like 10 million yen? I'd be like, ooh, my lucky...
one ever came to pick it up. About 3 days later, after his abduction, Izaki returned. He claimed he was tied up in a warehouse, but he managed to escape on his own. Unfortunately, Izaki couldn't identify the kidnappers or provide police with any clues. The case could have ended there. Instead, it escalated. Weeks later, the group set fire to several cars at Glico's headquarters. That same day, the criminals sent letters to 2 major newspapers. The letters did 2 things. First, they mocked the police for not catching them.
Do Japanese police fools?
Just straight up fool. To be fair, fool has a lot of energy as a word. Like, I would probably be more offended if you called me a fool than like a...
Are you stupid? With so many of you, what are you doing? If you're real pros, try catching me.
They also dropped hints about their crimes.
The car we used is gray, and the food was bought at Taiyei. If you want new info, beg for it in the newspaper.
The letter was signed, "The Monster with 21 Faces." Now the
Oh, wait, so if you use your own like gamer tag, is that cringe?
entire country knew their name, but the monster was just getting started. In May 1984, the monster sent another letter.
The monster claimed to have laced $21 million worth of Glico products with potassium cyanide.
What?
Some reports said hydrocyanic acid soda.
In simple terms, they said they put poison in candy that was already in stores. The news spread fast and Japan panicked. Supermarkets removed all Glico products. Parents threw out candy. Glico lost $130 million from this threat alone.
Dude, in dollars, that's even more nuts because like the ratio, I guess maybe back then the yen to like dollar ratio would be a little bit different, but like in USD, that's huge.
Saved the business, hundreds of workers were laid off. When investigators tested the candy, no poison was found.
He was just doing a little trolling. No.
The monster was just bluffing, but the fear it caused was real. In June 1984, the monster sent another letter. We're satisfied. The president of Glico has already gone around with his head hanging down long enough. We would like to forgive him. Just like that, the attacks on Glico stopped. No ransom was paid. No arrests were made. Many believed the nightmare was over. They were wrong.
Oh, it was bait. He's letting their guard go down and now he's gonna go back in with like extra. Read all about it.
A few months later, the monster chose a new target. That October, they began threatening another candy company called Morinaga. A letter was sent to newspapers.
This is not sweet.
It was addressed to the moms of the nation. In it, the monster claimed they placed poisoned Morinaga candy in stores. This time, it wasn't a bluff. Police searched.
Oh no! Dude, at first it was bait to get their guard down, and now he's gonna actually do it and it's not bait? Oh my God.
Supermarkets nationwide. They found over a dozen poisoned candies. Strangely, the monster placed warning labels on them. Danger contains poison. You'll die if you eat this.
At this point, I'm living my life Stardew Valley style, making everything at home, cooking it at home, never eating candy, never drinking sody pop, just straight up living off the land.
Monster with 21 faces. Morinaga's sales dropped 60% overnight. The company laid off employees. The government had to intervene to prevent the business from collapsing. The monster then threatened other Japanese food companies. One letter read, "We are the culprits involved in the Glico and Morinaga incidents. If you do not want to become another Glico and Morinaga, put out the cash. If you don't respond, we'll poison your products." Several companies paid ransom. Meanwhile, police thought they were doing everything to find the monster. They believed they were closing in. During one ransom pickup, an undercover officer was assigned to deliver the money. He boarded a train. Then he noticed a man watching him. The officer said the man had eyes like those of a fox.
He looked cunning, hunting, and they nicknamed him the Fox-Eyed Man.
When the officer
Dude, they would not say that if I did all that. They'd be like, there was this scared little girl sitting in the corner of the train and she looked like she was gonna pee her pants. I would not be horrified.
officer tried to follow the man disappeared into a crowd. Days later, the police released a sketch of the fox-eyed man. They even identified a suspect.
A man called Miyazaki. Physically, he looked just like the fox-eyed man, and he did also have a bit of a history with Glico.
But after the investigation, he was cleared. Over time, police interviewed roughly 125,000 persons of interest.
Holy crap. How did they miss him out of 125,000 people? They should never play I Spy.
None of them were linked to the monster. Months passed with no arrests. The public was angry. The media criticized the government. The officer leading the investigation was dismissed. He considered it the biggest failure of his professional career.
Oh my God.
Out of embarrassment, the officer did the unthinkable.
What?
News of his passing shocked Japan. 5 days later, the monster sent one final letter. They talked about what happened to the officer.
No Korea Yamamoto died like a man, so we decided to give our condolences. We decided to forget about torturing food-making company.
It sounded like they felt guilty about his passing and decided to stop. The letter ended with, "It's fun to lead a bad man's life." No one ever heard from the monster again.
Dude, wait, that actually like shook him to his core and he stopped messing around and trolling people.
The case remained open
I'm actually
for years,
surprised.
but in the year 2000, the statute of limitations expired. That meant even if the culprits were identified, they couldn't be prosecuted. To this day, no one knows the true identity of the monster with 21 faces. But on the Japanese internet, this group is still a topic of discussion today.
I mean, it's just really interesting when you think about how long his run was and that he got away with it basically, and that 125,000 people were interviewed and he was never a part of them. Like, I cannot believe he never got caught. That's insane.
Next is a story that made people afraid of browsing the web. The Red Room Curse.
The Red Room Curse. Wait, is that like red rum? Red rum.
To explore the darker side of the Japanese internet, one story keeps coming up. It's called the Red Room Curse. Some say it's just a myth. Others believe it's tied to evil spirits. The curse centers around a red pop-up window.
It's all about this pop-up that comes up when you're just browsing the internet. And
this is like a creepypasta. Dude, I hate trying to learn Japanese. Anata wa kanji, kanji ga, ski, desu ka. It's like literally the kanji is insane roadblocks that just make it to where I'm totally illiterate.
It's just like this red thing that pops up.
To some, it isn't just a normal pop-up. According to the legend, if the pop-up appears on anyone's screen, they won't survive the next 24 hours. And there were real-life events that convinced...
Wait, this is like ye old internet, like, email chains, right? Would you guys ever have like those emails that would be like, if you do not forward this to 10 people, you will spontaneously combust?
Some people, the Red Room Curse might be real. The earliest stories about the Red Room Curse date back to the late 1990s.
There we go. Old 90s, straight up spam email, chainmail crap.
Around that time, someone created a short animated video and uploaded it to a Japanese website. The cartoon followed two students who heard about the Red Room Curse. They were talking at school when one mentioned a rumor about a dangerous pop-up. If it appeared on your screen, your fate was sealed. The other student laughed it off. He didn't believe in internet curses.
Dude, isn't that crazy to think about that, like, this was a crazy culture that we all learned to just never give into and that none of it was true, but this continues to this day on Facebook? Like, some people just didn't get the memo.
Later that night, he went home.
Once home, the boy, being skeptical about what his friend had told him, decided to look into it himself.
He searched online for proof, but found nothing, so he gave up. Then, while browsing normally, a pop-up appeared.
The legend is about a pop-up box on the internet that reads, "Do you like?" in Japanese, which is also narrated by a girl.
She sound like Tomodachi Life.
Tried closing it. Each time he did, it came back. Eventually, the question changed to, "Do you like the Red Room?" Then the screen flickered and it went black. And many names started showing up in red. These were the names of everyone who had already seen the pop-up. None of them were alive anymore. As the boy scanned the list, his heart sank. He saw his friend's name, the same friend who told him about the cursed pop-up. Then at the bottom of the list, his own name appear. It meant he was next. Suddenly, he realized that someone was standing behind him. The animation never showed what happened after that. It didn't need to. The message was clear. The next day, both of the boys were missing. Reports said they were found lifeless. That was a story in the cartoon. But after watching it, many believers of this story weren't sure if it was just fiction or if the curse was real. No one.
I actually read this email. I feel like this is a safe space, so I'm gonna say it. I read this email, and I did die. I'm dead. This is AI. DLSS 5.0.
wanted to investigate. As one person wrote, I really want to check it out, but I'm scared it'll be real. Then a real event made people even more scared of the curse. In June 2004, a Japanese schoolgirl ended her classmate. As part of the investigation, police searched her computer. They wanted to understand her motive, but they found something unsettling in her browser history.
The #1 bookmark on Natsumi's computer was a flash animation that depicted the Red Room curse.
What was that image before we started telling the story?
The Japanese media reported the discovery. The Red Room legend was no longer just a story. It was now linked to a real-world tragedy. This connection stayed in people's minds. Years passed. The original animation that made the curse famous got lost. But the story of the cursed pop-up kept spreading. Some created video games based on it. Others made short films inspired by it.
Wait, since I'm learning about SCPs, could the red email be an SCP? What would this be classified as, and how would you contain it? Yes, sure. It could be. Memetic threat. True! Memetic hazard! Wow!
Every few years, new claims appear online. Someone says their screen flashed red for a second, or a strange message popped up and vanished before they could screenshot it. The Red Room curse legend felt relatable. Anyone can get a pop-up while browsing, and the idea that seeing it means you're already doomed is what makes it scary.
Oh, so this is like JP, I lost the game.
This next chapter is about a screenshot of a creature that some swear isn't human. The demon with no face. In November 2020, a photo from a traffic camera.
Oh my god. It's Japanese Slenderman. Look at him just standing there. Menacingly.
Went viral on the Japanese internet. It wasn't a car crash, weather update, or anything you expect to see on a traffic cam. It looked like a picture of a demon. At least that's what most people who saw it thought it was. The camera was located at a place called the Izu Skyline. It's a long mountain road in Japan.
Dude, there was this one road that I drove on in Hawaii. I think it's on Maui, and it's called like... I can't remember. It's like a really bendy road, and it was terrifying, and I'm probably never gonna do it again. I thought I was gonna die like 4 times.
Cameras were installed for traffic and weather updates, so they captured images of the road every hour and posted them on the website. On November 1st, 2020, a Twitter user was checking out the live feed from those cameras. Then he saw something strange. A figure stood near the side of the road. It was completely black and it wasn't moving. It simply stood there facing forward. The shape looked human, but it had no visible features.
Dude, this can't go anywhere, right? Like, that was obviously Photoshop. Or do you think maybe there's just a man who likes doing a little silliness and he's just standing out there in like a suit?
No matter how much he zoomed in, he could not see a face. It was just a solid silhouette.
Please, nobody ever draw me like this. This would do horrors to, I guess, my confidence of myself.
Standing upright. The user quickly took a screenshot. He posted the image on Twitter and asked if anyone knew what it was.
It's so bright, and yet the figure is all black. It's creepy. Also appears to be slightly bigger than a normal person.
He's
the
like
post triggered
Sinai.
thousands of reactions. Some thought it was just a person in black clothes or spandex, but the figure looked far too smooth. There were no creases or fabric lines. There was something else that made no sense. The figure had no shadow. That was unnatural.
Bad Photoshop. Take the critique!
Then came the creepiest observation. The photo was taken on November 1st. That was the morning after Halloween. That detail shifted the entire conversation. Some began to think it was a supernatural entity, but others argued it was likely a prank.
Well, assuming the photo wasn't edited in any way, it was likely just a person trying to get captured by the live cam they knew took a picture at 6 a.m. every morning.
Even with logical explanations, the image continued to disturb people. There was no official statement from road authorities, and no one one ever proved what it was. The camera continued operating as usual, and the figure never appeared again. Years later, it remains one of the creepiest images to come out of the Japanese internet. This next case was so unsettling that people made a movie about it.
It's kind of wholesome. Like, I've seen some creepy stuff online. Like, I guess I would say that wasn't too bad. Like, that just kind of made me smile.
The train ride to nowhere. In January 2004, a Japanese chat room asked users to share any strange things happening around them. Hundreds of users joined the conversation.
I know I always say I'm a Florida woman, but I would light this board up with absolute craziness. You don't know what I've experienced in my life, and it's not been good.
They told stories about odd events and random coincidences. Then a user named Hasumi began posting. Her story was so unsettling that it made everyone stop and read. And it was unfolding in real time as she typed. Hasumi was typing while she was on a train heading home from work. It was—
Dude, that is so bad. Does anybody else have a problem where you just be looking at people's stuff even though you don't want to? Like, if I was ever in the train, I would accidentally look at what people were doing just because my eye, like, wanders to bright screen. And I try not to, but it's, like, something in my head that just makes me nosy and I want to look. And I remember this one time I was sitting down and I was playing Uma, and, like, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little gambler. And, like, I just basically go in and I push all the buttons and I like to see the number go up and I want to win. But the guy next to me sat down and he was playing Uma and he watched the entire race every single time and I felt like a failure. I was like, wow, he actually like appreciates and loves the horses and I'm just like gambling.
It was late at night. The train was supposed to stop at her usual station, but it didn't.
It just kept going. 10 minutes passed, 15, 20, but still no sign of slowing down. No familiar station announcements.
Hasumi looked around. All the other passengers were asleep. No one seemed worried. Instead of panicking alone, she posted on the online chat room asking—
This is like that game. Do you know the one I'm talking about? They have like VTubers and stuff in it, but they, you walk on the train and it's like an anomaly game. I can't remember. I think it's called, Exit 8? No, it's like Exit 8 though. Station 8. Maybe it was that one? It's something like that. You know what I'm trying to say.
Asking what to do. People—
Shinkansen! Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yep. And there's a Chilla art game. Dude, trains are so cool. I don't know how to explain it. Like, there's like so many aesthetics you can do. There's so many directions you could go in, just like endlessly walking down a train. My favorite Mario Party map is a train.
Instead of panicking alone, she posted on the online chat room asking what to do. People replied instantly. First, they told her to check the conductor, but she couldn't find him. Finally, the train stopped. Hasumi stepped off and posted the name of the station, Kisaragi Station. That wasn't her stop, and she never heard of that station before. Users in the chat room searched online. Kisaragi Station didn't exist on any map. No one in the group recognized the name either. Hasumi was stranded at a place that didn't seem to exist. All she wanted was to get home. Some users told her to stay on the train, but Hasumi already stepped off, and the train left.
Dude, even if this is like completely unbelievable, it is kind of fun to think that everybody's just like role-playing and going with the bit, and it's great.
Before she could get back on. Now she was alone.
The station was completely deserted. Not a single person anywhere. The ticket office was dark and abandoned.
Hasumi tried to find a taxi, but there was none. People in the chat room told her to walk along the tracks until she reached the previous stops.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I would not suggest that. Yeah, just walk on the track, you know, the place where all the trains come from. That's a great idea.
So she started walking. Then she heard a voice behind her. Someone
said, "Get out of the way, we're coming in hot! Beep, beep, beep!"
screamed, "Hey, don't walk on the tracks, that's dangerous." When Hasumi turned around, she saw a man with one leg. She blinked for a second and he disappeared. Hasumi kept updating the chat room. She was terrified, but she forced herself to keep moving. She saw a tunnel ahead and went through it. When she came out on the other side, she saw a man sitting in a car. He offered to drive her to a nearby hotel.
Every option has been so bad. At this point, I would reset my run. What do you mean I'm walking on the train tracks and now a strange man comes out the van and they ask me if I want to ride?
She told the chat room and asked what to do. Users warned her not to get in. They said,
"Yeah, don't!" Can you imagine? He's like, "Hey, you want to ride?" And she goes, wait. Brock, should I get in the vehicle?
It was suspicious for someone to be there so late at night, but Hasumi said she was exhausted, so she got into the car. At first, the driver was friendly. Then she realized he was driving in the wrong direction.
Okay, this happens to all of us. I drove on the wrong side of the road during my driver's test. And I still passed?
The driver wasn't heading toward any hotel. Instead, he turned into a narrow mountain road, driving deeper into the wilderness.
Hasumi asked what was happening, but the driver ignored her. He was just mumbling to himself. That's when Hasumi posted her final message. My battery's almost out. Things are getting strange, so I think I'm going to make a run for it. After that, there were no more updates. Hasumi never posted again. Hundreds of users stayed online waiting for Hasumi's return. She never did.
This was kind of like you choose your own adventure. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't think the story was real, but I think it's fun that everybody got to play along.
People formed theories about what happened to her at Kisaragi Station.
Some said she must have slipped through a doorway into another dimension.
Others had darker explanations.
Maybe she died in an accident.
I'm sorry, that was an overreaction. It also sounded like Moist Critical. I don't know how that came out of my body.
While dozing off, and what she experienced was her final journey to the afterlife.
Some believe the entire story was a hoax. People continued searching for any trace of Kisaragi Station, but they found nothing. 7 years later, someone claiming to be Hasumi posted an update saying she survived.
I lived. Bye, everybody. Dude, am I just like cynical? Like, do I just not believe there's wonder and joy and funny little fantastic things happening in the world? Or am I just a realist and realize that this was a Goosebumps choose your own adventure? I guess I have no whimsy.
Most people didn't believe it. Over time, Hasumi's posts spread across the internet, and the mystery of Kisaragi Station became one of Japan's most famous internet horror stories.
In 2022,
a movie was made about it. To this day, no one knows how true her posts were.
Okay, I think we're pushing it with the real ghost story. We just straight up lying.
All people saw was someone scared asking for help. Then she disappeared. The person in her next story did anything to get attention, including risking other people's lives.
Oh my god.
The case of the fake survivor.
What?
When we talk about creepy content, it isn't always ghosts or curses. Sometimes it's real people doing strange things.
I would never.
This is one of those cases. It involves a man who pretended to be buried alive. It all started with a real tragedy.
Why would you go online and lie? Why would you do that? Some people, man. By the way, I'm 6'5".
On January 1st, 2024, Japan was struck by a powerful earthquake.
A powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck central Japan, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake.
Buildings collapsed and fires spread, but the most urgent crisis was the people trapped under the rubble. They needed to be rescued.
I keep bringing up this guy, and I'm so sorry, but I feel like I need to spread his lore. You guys remember that guy that wanted to build all of the flood walls in Japan, and then everybody called him a goofball, and they're like, you're wasting our tax money. And then what happened was like a really big flood came like this, or the tsunami, and then the flood walls actually made it so everybody in the town lived. But he had already passed away, so he didn't know that, you know, he actually did make the right decision. W that guy. I always gotta spread the lore. W that guy.
Rescued it before time ran out. That same day, 25-year-old Ryodai Kanemaru was at home. He also lived in Japan, but he was miles away from the disaster zone. He was completely safe. As the news of the earthquake spread, Kanemaru opened Japanese Twitter. He wanted—
I gotta go back. I was just farting on shit. I was just shitting and farting. I gotta go back.
Kanemaru was at home. He also lived for time. The most urgent crisis was the people trapped under the rubble. They needed to be rescued before time ran out. That same day, 25-year-old Ryodai Kanemaru was at home. He also lived in Japan, but he was miles away from the disaster zone. He was completely safe. As the news of the earthquake spread, Kanemaru opened Japanese Twitter. He wanted to see how people were reacting. There were several thousand posts requesting rescue at the time.
Oh my God.
The trapped victims became the focus of national attention. Kanemaru wanted that attention too, so
No! Dude, I was so jealous of people who broke their arm or broke their leg in school. Like, they would bring a cast and everybody would sign it and draw funny little pictures on it. But that doesn't mean I go and break my arm.
he decided to lie. That night, he posted, "My family is trapped in our collapsed house." To make the lie believable, he listed a real address in Wajima, one of the hardest hit areas. His message got a lot of attention. People replied and told him to stay strong. Others said they would alert authorities. He probably loved the attention because he decided to tell another lie. He posted another desperate message asking for help.
Why are you always lying? Why? You you're like Michi, who was jealous of people who wore glasses, so she stared at the sun to hurt her eyesight. Dude, my glasses story is not that cool. Like, literally what happened was I went to go take the glasses test, and my mom is really strict, like really, really strict, and she was gonna yell at me if I failed any test, so I hid that I failed my eye test because I didn't want to get yelled at.
This time he used a different address. Once again, people online reacted with concern. Kanemaru repeated the lie again and again. By the end of the day, he made about a dozen fake rescue posts.
Oh
the
my
next
God.
day, 10 officers went to the site posted by Kanemaru. They were there to rescue him, but they found no collapsed houses. All residents in the neighborhood were confirmed to be safe.
Okay, so now he comes online, he says, I'm so sorry for lying. Sure.
The rescue team searched the area for about 20 minutes trying to find the person who asked for help. Eventually, they realized the rescue request was fake. But Kanemaru wasn't the only one doing this. Many others also posted fake rescue requests. A research...
Dang. I didn't know about like the culture of checking Twitter until like I was there, and then there was like a million earthquakes happening all the time. They were like crazy QTEs. I remember one time I was taking a bath, and then my water started going blue, 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 blue. I was like, no, 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 no. And then it was an earthquake. And then I checked Twitter, and then everybody's talking about it.
Researcher later reviewed the rescue tweets.
The Institute said that there were over 1,000 tweets asking for help, and 104 were fake. Some of the posts included the name of non-existent places.
The situation became so serious that Japan's prime minister...
She was taking a bath, sure. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was way more clean when I lived in Japan because, one, I had to go outside every single day, and two, it's more fun whenever you get to take a little bath, get the bucket, put the water on top of your head. It feels like you're at Schlitterbahn, okay? Then you get in the nice, warm, toasty bath, use your mega bubble, enjoy it, sit, soak, go play games, and then get up and go do whatever you were doing. It's more fun.
Minister addressed it in a press conference. He called the posts malicious false information. It was a big issue because the fake posts sent them rushing to scenes where there was no one who needed help. Meanwhile, there were...
Dude. This is like the same people who like call the cops on streamers too. Or like spam call the police and take up everybody's time and resources when there's actually people who do need help.
Hundreds of real victims waiting to be saved. It was despicable. Police decided to track down those behind the fake posts and hold them accountable. Authorities analyzed Twitter accounts. They were able to trace the posts back to their sources. The investigation took time, but it produced results. In July 2024, the police arrested Kanemaru. The headline read, "Man arrested for making false rescue request on social media." He was charged with obstructing rescue work.
Yeah,
when questioned,
good.
Kanemaru told police exactly why he did it. He said, "I wanted to take advantage of the earthquake to draw attention to my posts and get a lot of people to respond." In simple terms,
just draw VTubers with their biddies out. A lot of people be updoing you, leaving comments, smiley facing. That's a great way to get attention.
he wanted likes and shares on social media, and he didn't care if real victims were hurting while he did it. The Japanese internet is full of stories that were never solved, never explained. Some are real and others legends. But maybe the creepiest stories are the ones somewhere in...
Does anybody else feel mentally ill? Like sometimes when I hear the word legends, my inner monologue just goes, legends never die.
between, where your imagination fills in the rest. Visual venture. Wait, before you guys go, I have a video about the most disturbing websites you should not visit.
Twitch.tv/BerryCrepe.
I talk about a website that streams live footage from inside people's bedrooms.
Twitch.tv/BerryCrepe.
A married man who cheated on his wife with an AI girlfriend, and a hitman for hire website. Click here to watch it. Love you guys. Peace.
Peace. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please check out the original video and come by the stream, Twitch.tv/BerryCrepe. Use code Berry for 10% off your gamer subs. It helps me out, and I would super appreciate it. Hope you have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.